pleasant good day. The time approximately 2 minutes moving away from the 10 o'clock hour. And as per usual, every other week, right on time. He was right on time when I heard the door chiming. I kind of smiled to myself. I said, okay, there he is, the man himself, the one and only Mr. Chesley Hamilton. Good day to you, sir. And how are you?
Good day, Quint. I am well, and can't complain. I just have to give thanks.
Same as myself. Give thanks for being in good health and on the land of the living.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
Yes.
Well, I just need to say good morning to all those listening to us, whether in the Federation or overseas, wherever you are in distant land. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, whatever time zone you're in. Welcome to Inside the News. And as we say, Inside the News, what's in the news? I took a bit of a sabbatical from the news since last November, and TV news, I would say. And I started, after taking a year off, to look at the news, and wall to wall, I'm seeing Trump stuff, whether it's the Epstein files or things like that. And I said, nah, I can't take it.
Neither me. I can't take it.
I can't take that.
I concur.
They're forcing me to go back on my sabbatical after taking the year. I mean, if I could go a year, maybe I could go a little bit further. But I promised myself I'll do it for a year. And then I will then reintegrate and introduce myself back into looking at news. I see MSNBC is now going to be changing to a different nomenclature. Mm-hmm. That's the best way to put it. Mm-hmm. Something MSNOW or something like that. I don't know what it means, but I see that, and I flicked to the BBC, but even the BBC had on the same thing because Trump is suing the BBC over an article and things like that. So I got trumped out,
I like you. I mean, honestly, when I peruse the news, from the time I see something with Trump's name, I just move along because. Yeah. But how can a leader of this established, they say, superpower in the world be so fickle, so petty, so so thin-skinned? I mean, it is unbelievable.
Well, you see, the power brings entitlement, and therefore, once you have power, and success is a poor teacher. I always say that.
But we've had others who were a bit egotistical, but we've never had anyone like this man. Well, I mean, you can't say anything. He can say anything. Most of what he says is absolutely ridiculous. You know what he reminds me of? It reminds me of in the medieval Europe when they used to have some kings who were nasty and despicable, but just because they were kings, people had to serve them, mm-hmm. And you would read stories of the chambermaids and the different people holding their nose to go and deal with him. and
might is right, and that's basically you're getting the 21st century version of might is right, and power, what power can do. I remember clashing with a professor of mine in advanced international law. Mm-hmm. And I said to him, you can't have any foreign affairs if you don't have the power to implement your foreign affairs.
Yeah.
What use is foreign affairs if you don't have the power to impose it?
Yes, I agree.
There must be a power dynamic in the definition.
Yes.
Dealing with foreign affairs, mm-hmm. or self-determination. And he disagreed with me. He said, I'm not in the class for my opinion. I'm in the class to hear what he says, repackage it, and give it back to him. You know, and I say, okay, sir. You know, some years after, the same professor, after teaching and being a deputy minister in the Chrétien government, when the Chrétien government lost, he went to the World Bank, and then he came to St. Kitts. And visiting St. Kitts, you know, we were in opposition. He came to visit Lindsay, to speak to Lindsay. I recognized him, but he didn't recognize me. And he asked, I said, well, I know you. And I had to laugh because the same issue of self-determination was the issue that he came to St. Kitts to deal with.
Yeah.
And when I said to him, well, if Nevis is here, there are going to be some stateless people. He wanted to know what I was talking about. So, well, our constitution says that the entity called St. Kitts, based on section 115 of the constitution, is entitled to the water around St. Kitts and Nevis. It's entitled to a number of things. And then there are going to be some divisions here who the entity called St. Kitts would be able to determine whether they are citizens or not. And he wasn't aware of these things. And so, well, you know, the power would lies with the entity called St. Kitts, and therefore it would be able to implement its policy, and the day after it would, if Nevisians would need passport, because they haven't made any momentum and reservation to deal with the day after. They don't have a police force. They don't have a prison of their own. The mail. And I went on and tell him, well, it's the St. Kitts Nevis mail, it's the St. Kitts Nevis police force, it's the St. Kitts Nevis fire, and so on. So these things belong to the entity called St. Kitts, because Nevis hadn't made any reservations for the day after a vote. And he said, wow. He asked, well, what would you like us to do? I said, well, those are the sort of things that the powers that be will have to decide whether they're going to support the territorial integrity of the entity called St. Kitts Nevis, or they're going to support two factions of that entity. And those things don't lie with me. I am in favor of preserving the territorial integrity of the state or the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. That's my position, but I don't know what would be the position of the World Bank, the U.S. or the Canadian government. And he just sat back in his chair and realized, well, that student was paying attention.
So he recognized you then?
Of course he did.
Okay. And what was his...
Jonathan Farid was his name.
And
I could remember his name up to now.
And what was his opinion then as it pertains to youth and foreign affairs and
well, I don't want to say what transpired out of the meeting and what became, but what I could say to you is, well, Nevis didn't have the second vote, and there were certain communiques that were released by not only the World Bank but the U.S. government and other major entities, which I would say made the then Vance Amry government not proceed down a road of faction, of this factiousness. So I don't want to take any credit for anything, but I just want to let you know some of the conversations, because I was part of a team. I think it's more for Lindsay, and who was the leader of PAM and so on, to speak as to what was the official communique that came out from that meeting.
sitting. Yeah.
You know, I just letting you know the interaction with my professor.
Okay. Well, I realize that even years later, you're still being an accommodating student.
That's true. That's true. But in terms of the news, the SSZ has been there. I think there have been town halls. I think there have been different meetings. It's in the news. There have been interviews by the prime minister being on radio. The the member from number 7 and PLP had a press conference. The People's Action Movement with a formidable legal team had a town hall meeting, and therefore that has been making its rounds. And then you have what I would think on the streets, the issue of the 20 miles per hour speed limit and the things that are coming out of that. And then
We have a
we have a
caller.
caller,
Yes.
and then there's some things dealing with agriculture and feed and privatizing the importation of feed and so on.
Yeah.
I think some of the farmers out there may want to chime in and let me know what's really going on within the agriculture
Sector.
sector.
Go ahead, caller.
Hey, greetings and salutations. I just tune in. So I don't know if it was discussed before, but I want to touch a bit on the conduct of the Attorney General. Now, where I'm living, right, on October 4th, a sitting judge in Prescott, Arizona, she was caught urinating on a sidewalk next to the courthouse where she works. But this is what happened. I guess she took a break and she went across the street in a park and she was waiting for her husband. And I guess she realized she had to go and, she tried to make it back to the courthouse. But I guess she couldn't hold it and somebody called the police. She was cited, and no, my thing is, I wouldn't blame her. If she had to go, she had to go. I'm not saying what she did was right.
Yes.
Because urinating in public and public nudity, and all that's fine. But a few days after she did something, she resigned.
Okay. Wow. That's a hard one. That's a hard one, though, because I hear what you're saying and I understand the statutes and rules, but that's kind of hard because she's a human being, but she knew the protocol and she knew what she would then have to do, having gone against the established protocol.
Right, and
Yes.
then her husband showed up, and he wound up getting arrested because he's telling, the police, well, look, that's my wife, she's a judge, and the police would have none of that. He couldn't care less who she was.
Mm-hmm.
She offended the law, and all he was prepared to do was write her a ticket.
Mm-hmm.
But as I say, once the husband get there, everything escalates.
Mm-hmm.
And he wound up getting arrested, and now they both have to be in court. Now, I'm saying, we have a sitting attorney general. And I listened a program yesterday, and one of the hosts is talking about who initiate recording, and what does that have to do with anything? Are we saying that when the attorney general is in his house, let's say he works 9 to 5 and he's in his house after he finished work, he's not the attorney general?
Well, Chesley would be better to answer that question than I. He's the legal luminary here.
So the protocol is the office and not who recorded who.
Yeah.
And one more thing. I watched the press conference with the People's Action Movement, and I heard the Honorable Constance Mitchum. That's how I refer to her. And she made a statement, to a question about economic citizens voting. And she said that Ham would never allow these people to vote. That's where I have the problem with. Because a citizen is a citizen. You cannot tell a citizen can't vote. I mean, as an attorney, you go to court with a law that is not going to work. We're talking about the law. And I think this way Chesley will come in.
Yeah, he'll come in on both of them. The issue.
Okay,
of
I'll be listening.
Yes, okay. So it's over to you, Mr. Chesley Hamilton.
Yes, sometimes you see the road to certain places paved with good intentions. But intent has nothing to do with effect. They're two separate things. I intended to discharge my firearm in that direction. The fact that the bullet hit you didn't mean that I intended to hit you.
Yes.
And I could be driving my motor car and something happened and I hit you, but I had no intention of driving it to hit you. I'm just letting you know intent and what happens sometimes are far apart. So what you intend, but when those two things come together, many times, especially with malintent, many times what happens is that it becomes a criminal offense. When the guilty mind, the intention, and the action coincide, many times those two things constitute a criminal offense. If it's only one, many times it's not. For instance, the issue of peeing on the sidewalk, that's the action.
Yeah.
What was the intention? It was the medical necessity. Let's say she has some sort of condition which doesn't allow her to
Be able to hold her
pee beyond certain time, and she was trying, and out of the necessity, she had to go.
Yes.
That's a different issue, and sometimes there's a discretion when it comes to that. The manifestation is the urine, but what happened in order to try to not do it. So, if that is the case, if that is what happens.
Let me chime in because
Yeah.
I want your clarity on this, because I understand where you're speaking about intent, and I think we can conclude that she did not intend to break the law, but there were circumstances that happened. But the fact is that, as far as the system is concerned, she broke the law.
Maybe because it's a ticketable offense that her intention didn't matter.
Yes.
You see, once you did it. Or just
That's
the
it.
action.
Yes.
You see, just the action make it a ticketable offense. You get a ticket for it. It's not. It's a statutory offense. It's not. It's like a parking ticket. You park illegal. You park illegal. You pay. You pay.
Yeah.
Right. The criminal aspect of it. Right. What was the intention? Maybe that part does not even constitute the offense.
But it
So
seems
the reason does not come into being. If it was an arrestable offense and she had to be tried and get a criminal offense, then the defense would be raised. Was it Was it a medical necessity? What was the reason? What was the reasonable explanation to mitigate against the action?
But here's what I'm
So
wondering.
I'm just simply saying to you, if it sounds like it was a ticketable offense.
Yes.
So that is one thing, and therefore that she might have been $100 ticket or whatever for so doing, and that would have been the end of it. But then if you then obstruct the police or you beat the police and these sort of things with the husband, that now becomes a different kettle of fish.
Yes. That is what I wanted clarity on.
Yeah.
Where the husband, because it seems as if though perhaps if the police had come, she would, as you said, she would just been given a ticket. Maybe it would have been kept kind of low profile to some extent, but when the husband came and he escalated everything, you know, it's going to blow out of proportion. The police who might have just given a ticket and otherwise used some discretion, he now has to follow the letter of everything now, because if the public is watching now, he could be called into question. So.
No, I'm going to say something. One is innocent until proven otherwise, meaning
Yes.
proven guilty. We have a situation here in this federation where we have a number of high-level officials within the Jew administration who have been charged and brought before the magistrate court. Well, nobody is saying anything about this. The DPP made certain pronouncements, but this thing is in my view, is not good.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Well, I wasn't aware of this. This is good. This is news to me now.
I mean, during the last 3 years, there have been 2 magistrates charged and brought before the court, whether it's under the integrity in public life legislation or not. You have 2 magistrates charged and brought before the court. And when you see a magistrate name on the voters list, and I mean on the court list, and an offense next to it, I don't even want to call the offense name.
Yeah.
You understand? But the list is a public thing. You can't have those kind of things happening. That's one. Right? 2 magistrates. You have a lawyer charged with, among other things, money laundering, corrupting the course of justice, all kind of different things, right? You had another lawyer died with about 5 charges hanging over her head,
Wow.
right? Well, she wasn't a part of the Jew administration, but then you had 2 permanent secretaries before the court last week, charged again. These are high officials. I mean, a permanent secretary. In the U.S. you call him Secretary of this and in the U.S. you call him Secretary of State and Secretary of that. In Canada, a PS is a deputy minister. They call them deputy ministers. So when I say high official, I really mean high officials. When this is the sort of thing that is happening, if somebody level a wide sweeping brush against the administration and say the Terrence Jew-led administrations are corrupt administration, they only have to point to those charges.
Wow. Yeah. I see.
They don't need anything more. They say, well, look here, people.
I see
know
your perspective.
so one is innocent until proven otherwise, and I raise that. But if there is a prima facie, a case on the face of it, on the face of the documents, it may not be proven beyond a reasonable doubt. It may not be proven to whatever. But could one, based on that, begin to say the accumulating effect is that there is a corrupt administration? Something needs to be done. Something needs to be said. When you're talking about transparency, you understand? You had an ambassador being suspended for all manner of things that they say happen within the Prime Minister's office. And if these charges are charges that supposed to go before the magistrate, and normally these charges are for the time period on these charges are less than 6 months or less. When more than 6 months done gone, this person is still on leave, not charged with anything. What is going on? So I said all of that in answering the question that in certain other jurisdiction, the person will do the honorable thing, step aside, resign,
That is what
let
was in my
the
mind.
justice system take its course, right?
Yes, that was in my mind.
In saying it, sometimes some of these people are put on half pay, suspended with half pay, or suspended with full pay. You understand? But there's no Consistency. Sometimes the lesser man is asked to go and struggle on half pay, but the high officials is on full pay. Or many times they're still on the job,
Yeah.
even though they are charged.
Yeah. Yeah.
With consistency, that's what I'm asking for. You remember last week I was using a word called universality? I believe in treating people equitably, fairly. I didn't say equally. Eh? Remember, I didn't say equally. You cannot treat the man with no feet and the man with feet the same way and say you're treating them equally. You have to treat them equitably. So, you won't want the man with feet to walk up the stairs to come here. But the man without feet, you will have to provide a ramp, an elevator, an escalator, something for him to get up to the next level. And that is equitable treatment. I believe in equity. I don't always believe in equality. Sometimes to treat unequals equally is to discriminate. And people must understand that. Let me repeat it. To treat unequals equally is to discriminate. You need to treat people equitably. You cannot treat everybody the same way and say, oh, I'm being fair and just. No. That is why each case is taken on its own facts and on its merits. That's the key. So what is the situation when a judge needed to go to the bathroom? You don't know if she had a yeast infection. You don't know if her husband was coming to take her to the doctor.
Yeah.
You don't know if her husband was coming to take her to the doctor because she has an yeast infection, which was causing her to go often. It could be. These are the sort of things that you don't know what the evidence is. But she has done the honorable thing and said, listen to me. I did the act that caused this thing. Let me resign. Let me step aside. And at the end of the day, it will come out.
Yeah. We have a caller.
Yes.
Caller, go ahead, please.
Good day to everybody.
Good day, sir.
Greetings once, yes, good day and greetings once more in Jesus Christ's name, the only Savior of sinners from their sins and from hell through faith only, and the second person of the eternal Trinity. Now, let me say this, okay? Let me say this. We are given by God the government we deserve because we are people who are disobedient to the word of God. And so the government that we have is the government that God gave us because we deserve such under his punishment and under his wrath upon us. And we cannot vote ourselves out of something that we sinned ourselves in. We can only get out of such by true biblical repentance. And where this landing and all these other evils that we are having upon us and plaguing our society and that sort of stuff, especially where this issue landing is concerned, all it is simply God making the foreigner to be the head and us, the citizens, to be the tail, whereas he told us if we obey his word, he will make us to be the head and the foreigners to be the tail. Deuteronomy chapters 28 and 29. So all that we're seeing right now is just the Bible working out itself in our society.
Gregory, a question to you.
In a negative way because we are disobedient to the word of God.
Gregory,
you were saying something?
A question to you. If God is who gave us the government, someone could say that the government is a blessing that comes from God. Isn't that so? Why is it a punishment and not a blessing?
Both. Yeah. Well, God said he puts up government in Psalms and Daniel. God said he puts up government and he takes down. He exalts and he humbles. So God is in total control of everything. Romans chapter 11 verse 36 say everything is by, from, and of God.
Right, so I'm asking, if God gave us the government, why isn't it not a blessing?
Yeah, because God give us both curses if we are obedient. God give us blessings if we are obedient to his word, and he give us curses if we are disobedient to his word. These governments that we have been having in the past and in the present are curses upon us because of our disobedience.
All right, Gregory, continue.
To his word as a people.
All right, continue. That's your conclusion. Continue.
Yes, and I'm saying only biblical repentance can turn situation around where God will give us his blessings. But right now we are under his curses. Anyhow, fellas, Thank you very much. Appreciate the good time.
Thank you for your
dedicated.
contribution and thank you for answering my question. The last knob of the question is the behavior of the Attorney General.
Yeah.
And I don't want to specifically comment on anything about the Attorney General in particular, but I am going to put things in a certain context. I am appalled that the head of Parliament will say to a member of Parliament who is in, or say about a member of Parliament who has been in Parliament for more than 30 years, because that member exercised a right to walk out, the chaos has left. Or the chaos, now that the chaos is gone, we could continue. I can't believe those words came out of the head of Parliament's mouth up to now, without an apology.
And who is the head of Parliament?
The Speaker of the House.
Just wanted for clarity.
The Speaker of the House said the chaos has left. Let us continue. Let us continue respectfully. Those were her words.
So then let me ask: does that lean toward seeming bias?
It is deplorable that the head. I mean, it wasn't a person on the opposition bench who said it, you know. And then the speaker had to rule. The speaker is saying the chaos. So if the speaker as the head of Parliament is expressing from the speaker's chair, from the speaker's position, that kind of vile, then other members, nominated senators and so on, whether in the private life, have that public example to follow.
But that is why I ask: does that not suggest a bias?
It's not just a bias. The logical leap and the error in judgment is deeper than that.
But
because the Speaker of the House would easily say it is the right of the Speaker it is the right of the member to leave or to stay. The member has chosen to leave, let us continue. But not the chaos. You can't say that. I mean, I don't even know if the Speaker is 40 years yet. Okay? So almost for the entire time of her life, that member has been in Parliament. There's a certain level of respect and deference that must be given to a person like that. Now, I am not no advocate for Timothy Harris. I ran against Timothy Harris twice. But doesn't mean that I am not going to respect the fact that he's a member of Parliament for 30 odd years. I have said all manner of things against Denzel Douglas. I've taken him on. I have debated him. I mean, I was the one who knew when he said what he said about Monica Lewinsky. I recorded it and had it and played it back and cut it up, slice it, dice it, and did all manner of things with it. Okay?
So you're confessing right now?
I am not confessing. I will tell him that. But Denzel Douglas will meet me, whether it's overseas in Toronto, and I'm at the back of a hall sitting down, listening to him as Prime Minister. And Denzel will say, Mr. Hamilton, no. You're the chairman of PAM. Come up here. Come up here. Come to the front. Whether I'm in Antigua, wherever I am, he has never been discourteous to me. Never.
So, Mr. Chesley Hamilton, I'm not going to waver from the question I asked, because the Speaker of the House, from my assessment, should be
above the fray.
Impartial.
Impartial and above the fray.
Yes. So when the Speaker makes a statement that says the chaos or the craziness or whatever that word means is gone, that is why I asked, does that not then suggest that the Speaker of the House is showing by her statement a bias?
The speaker has to understand that her job is to protect the minority in the house and protect them from the government. Not dump all over them. I used to like and admire the interaction between Sean Richards and now Dave Marcella Liebert.
Yeah, I remember those days.
You know, because there were times when Sean would be there and he's ranting and pointing his finger, and then Marcella will just easily say, member, may I see the document you're doing? And if Sean is right, she'll just tell him continue. That, you know, let me remember continue. I remember one debate, I think it was on the VAT debate, and they had put sardine in the outer order bundle as food that you shouldn't eat, and that VAT supposed to be on sardine. And Sean, having done his research, was able to point out that sardine was considered a healthy food.
Necessary.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was not anybody on the government side who changed that. It was Marcella who said, who then, whatever research he did, say yes, the doctors say that sardine should not be over there. Sardine should be one of those things that is. It was her. I remember when he also was debating and he went and buy chalk. Buy chalk and came back and showed that VAT was on chalk.
I remember that too.
These were the sort of things. And I know these things because those days is Sean used to go to Parliament alone as the sole person for Pam and Chesley in the gallery. Nobody else. I used to go to every Parliament. I used to accompany him because we didn't have no senator, we had no one. So I used to go with him. Sometimes whether he has his books or his bag or whatever, I walk with it so his hands could be free to greet people and so on, or walk a half step behind him, lending the support of a sort of an entourage, if you could call one person an entourage. You understand?
We get the picture.
You understand? Lending, you know, to him rather than the sole only, person going down there with no support. And I will go in the gallery. He will go over in the well of the Parliament.
Yes.
And there was even one time I got thrown out of Parliament because current went, and therefore no one was seeing the debate. Current went, and he was in his groove, and his face is turned to the speaker, and he's pointing, and he's waxing hot, as they would say.
Yeah.
But nobody could hear him, and I need to draw his attention that current gone. So I didn't know what to do. So I get up and say, well, current gone again.
So you disrupted Parliament.
I disrupted Parliament. Boy, Denzel Douglas got up and he jumped and he ran. And he, Madam Speaker, you hear what he said? Right? Madam Speaker turned to me and listened to what she said. She didn't say the stranger knows better because I'm a stranger to the Parliament.
Yes.
She said the member knows better. She said the member knows better. So I just bowed and I left because, having done it, I bowed and I left. The next day I saw her, I said, what happened, a ban for life? She said, no, man, next Parliament you could come back. Yeah, but those were things that happened.
Yes, yes.
And I'm basically saying that level of cross-talk and pick-on and back and forth was part of the healthy debate that existed at that time. I cannot see that the Speaker of the House haven't brought the minutes to the House for 3 years. And no matter what the Speaker tried to do, I mean, if the member for number 7 tried to draw to the attention that they should go through one at a time or line at a time, hear out the person. Listen to the person. And when the person is done, you have the votes to outvote the person.
Yeah.
And you will get what you want. But when that person feel that they're being shut down and they get up and they leave, you can't say the chaos has left. Not the speaker. No. Not the speaker. The speaker cannot say that. That is the height of malpractice in that office. And I really mean it. That cannot come from official dumb. Official dumb is the chair. That is like an order. Those words should be expunged from the record of Parliament. You cannot have the speaker officially in the handset saying that. The speaker needs to remove those words from the Parliament, from the handset, from the minutes, and apologize. That's my view. And I'm saying that I am not PLP.
Yes.
I am not PLP. I am a kitishon. I am People's Action Movement.
But right is right and wrong is wrong. And if you go against the
But in the annals of our official records and history, you cannot have the Speaker of the House saying those things about an elected member. It is wrong, wrong. It is wrong, it is wrong, it is wrong.
Okay, let's take a bit of a break on that note.
Thank you.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
The countdown is on. The sweetest season of the year is here. From December 13th to January 2nd, St. Kitts and Nevis comes alive once more with vibes galore, energy to explore, and moments sweeter than ever before. Sugar Mass 54, sweet to the core. The stage erupts with the passion of Calypso, the sweet sound of Pan, the heat of Soca, dazzling pageants and traditions that make you love Carnival even more. Dance to the streets at Juve, celebrate folklore, and revel in the Grand Carnival Parade, a celebration of rhythm, color, culture. Sugar Mass 54, sweet to the core.
If you need protection, you need one who you can trust. To secure your investment, you need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, we're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us.
TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind.
You're always safe with us.
And at the time being 10:45, we get right back to Mr. Chesley Hamilton. Gave him a bit of a time to cool down, simmer.
Now, if the AG in some communication caught on tape speaking to some dropping some F-bombs that were not too neighborly in tone or anything else. It is time that the AG goes to Parliament and remove that from the criminal law, so that if the neighbor wants to take personal action, that he has been, whether somebody used insulting language or abusive language,
Accosted.
any of those things, they could do that personally in the civil court. I have always advocated that to tell someone go and fornicate under the consent of the king with themselves should not be a bad word. You understand? I have always said so. Why should that end up with a criminal record?
But Mr. Chesley, that is because, as I've stated on numerous occasions, our leaders today who look like us and are supposed to act like us have not striven to take from the books those laws that were there to penalize us from the colonialistic time. They're just carrying on the mantle. Those laws were made so that you could find any reason to incarcerate us, take away our rights, put us in prison, and we are carrying them on.
We have a situation where we don't have a deputy speaker because we wanted to make the extra senator a full-fledged minister. When there is something in the Constitution to deal with that. You only have to increase the number of senators. You increase the number of senators by giving the opposition one more senator. I'm not hearing you. You only need to increase the number of senators. So therefore, there will be 4 senators on the opposition on the government's bench and 2 on the opposition bench instead of 1 and 3, counting the Attorney General. You could increase the number of senators, so therefore there is a deputy speaker. That is what I'm saying. Why do we have to have a parliament functioning without a deputy speaker? Well, now they now have asked the senator opposite from Nevis to be the deputy speaker. But before that, you started parliament in one way, and then you make that person a full-fledged minister. There are ways within the parliament to deal with things like this, or within the Constitution, rather than trying to, I don't want to say gerrymander or do some sort of gymnastics. There's no need for the gymnastics. The Constitution provides for us to be flexible in terms of how to deal with these things.
My apologies there. I had to interact on a call, which
Yes.
I tried to avoid, so I missed the gist of what you said recently. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm just basically saying that we need to remove certain things from the books,
Yes.
the laws
I
of our
agree.
country.
I agree.
We cannot keep on criminalizing our young people over, and then if they want a visa, they can't get it. They get a criminal record, they can't have certain jobs. Over what?
That was the intent. That was the intent back then. And this is why I'm so against it being carried on by our own people, our own leaders.
Man, there was a time when if you had a child out of wedlock, you couldn't work for the government. They bastard laws. Okay? The People's Action Movement came to office and said there is no illegitimate and legitimate children. All children are legitimate. Okay? And mothers were able to get leave, pregnancy leave and parental leave and this sort of thing. Paid.
Yes.
That is what you call social progress.
Yes. Progressive movements from
You
from
know,
government.
civil servants used to work on half the Saturday and half the Thursday. They said, no, take off the whole weekend and we will work full day Thursday. That is, again, the sort of progress that you want to see. You didn't want to know that, I mean, Quint, if you're married and your wife is working from 9 to 5, you may want to work from 7 to 2 so that you are home when the children get home. So why can't government workers work flex hours? You know, I was the one who campaigned and said, why are we getting only 12 paychecks a year? Why can't we have 24 or 26? Well, they have gone to 24, twice per month. I do believe that we can go to paying every fortnight. and end up with 26 checks. That is how you call governing. The worst thing to do if you're a government is not to govern. And we have laws that are there, and we are buying into these laws. And these laws are coming back to bite us in the rear end. The AG knows that he uses certain language, colorful language. But that language is still on the book as a criminal offense. It's still on the books as a criminal offense. I think the right thing to do is to remove it from the criminal code. Remove these things from the Small Charges Act. That if I want to use strong language to somebody, let that person feel offended, but there is no public interest in that. Where is the public interest? Especially if I'm not even holding public office, as the AG is. So therefore, the AG, you're holding public office and you're using certain language. Maybe you need to then remove it from the books, so that no one could say that you are the chief legal advisor to the government, yet you're not doing what you're supposed to do. You're found to err not only in omission but by commission. So please, do the right thing. Move those things from the books. We're at a different stage now. I go over the strip and I hear the DJs speaking, and the language that they're using over there, and some of the songs that are so-called raw, you know, the dirty ones, used in public. And what you're telling me, that is artistic. That is cultural license. That is artistic license. Well, if it can be used in that context, it is about time we stop criminalizing people. Because when a person gets a criminal record for swearing a bad word, as you would say, sometimes there are other charges that flow. The name, the resisting arrest, the resisting, the obstructing, the all sorts of things. You throw a whole slew, a bunch of small charges at the person, and the person then end up with this. Next time they go before the court with something, the magistrate say, well, you're not learning, so you go on jail. We don't need that. We don't need to keep criminalizing our young people. In North America, there's something called a diversion program. Yeah, you may do some community service or something else, and you end up not having a criminal record. To the point where, in Canada, in Ontario, if someone steal your bike, you don't call the police. Your bicycle I'm talking about. The police will tell you they're not going to waste their resources investigating who stole your bicycle. Call your insurance, your property insurance, and claim for the bike. Because the resources to investigate that could be used to investigate something else.
Yeah.
I am showing you that we are not being progressive and proactive in managing and governing our society. That's all I'm saying. To whom much is given, much is expected. And the government has to govern. It must govern. These nuisance criminal offenses on the books, we have to move them. Remove them. It ain't about me. Because you say, well, just leave. No. The issue is, I don't want to be defending. You're defending somebody for a bad word. How much don't pay me? So you don't pay me $2,000 to defend you for a bad word? I mean, I know getting a criminal record is serious. And I would do all that I possibly can to avoid that. So if I could get the person to plead guilty and ask the magistrate to give them a discharge, a caution and discharge, I will do that to save and preserve the criminal, the clean criminal record.
The future corrector.
You understand?
Yeah.
But we shouldn't have to do it for that. When the government can do the big thing, remove it from the books. If I am offended by Quint using some choice words to me, let me go with a private matter to the court against Quint. So this man used some intelligent language. He called my mother a female dog. And I'm offended that he called my mother a female dog.
I would never do that.
I'm just showing you. If I am offended by those words, how could that end up giving Quint a criminal record?
Yeah.
That should be Quint have to apologize to me and maybe pay me some damages that he can't prove that my mother is anything near a female dog.
Yeah, we have a caller. Hello, caller.
Yes.
Yes, Megan. I'm glad Mr. Hamilton is touching this issue because just recently this year, my wife was involved in an accident in a shopping center, and we didn't know the procedure, and she called me and I said, "Look, call the police." She said, "Well, a lady told her that they're not going to come because they don't deal with that." Mm-hmm. You exchange your information and so forth, and you contact the insurance, and that's how the police don't use resources to do things like that. I mean, it's a major accident, it's different, but getting back to the AG and
stick up in. The parking lot is a public place, eh?
Yes.
It is. So therefore, the police can come and investigate it still, because it's a public place. Anything place that the public has access to, it can be defined as a public place. And yes, the police still has jurisdiction. But the police can make a decision that, listen to me, we're not going to be prosecuting these things that happen on and I'm using that kind of private parking lots and so on. Why don't you exchange that or deal with it through your insurance? But these are policy differences that we have to make. I know in Ontario there is no fault insurance. So therefore we don't have to find out who is at fault. You get in an accident, you speak to your insurance, and the other person speak to their insurance. And they've taken the acrimonious litigation factor out of it. So, and that helps everybody to make sure that premiums stay a little bit stable, because it is the litigation that keeps having to spike premiums.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to interject that you don't want somebody to say you left the scene. I give the impression that you could leave the scene of an accident because it's in Value Mart parking lot or anything like that. You still could call the police, and then the police will say, if you all are going to settle it between you all, we're not going to go any further. We take measurements, we so on, but this thing can be sorted out between your insurance. They have the discretion to do that. I'm just saying. So I don't want them charge you for leaving the scene of an accident and so on, because it can get worse. Continue.
I agree. And, one more thing I wanted to ask you. You serve as a police officer. My question to you, during your days at the training school, academy, or whatever, did you ever go through anything about marking roads, putting up glass, anything like that?
Well, the issue, these
reason
things.
Why I asked that, our police seems to be doing all of that. Those things belongs to public works.
Well, I hear you, and you remember way back then, you used to have to write left-hand drive on your vehicle.
Yes.
Well, you know how that ended up not being part of our regulations anymore.
Well, I don't know.
There was a judge who had a Mercedes Benz, and the judge decided nobody put in no white paint and no white and red paint on his Mercedes Benz marked no left hand drive.
Wow.
So that's why that is not part of what we do anymore. So
Yeah,
I'm
and
just
then
showing you there are times when somebody have to be an Abraham, somebody have to stand up.
Yes.
Somebody
And then
has
you
to
got the
stand up
police.
and say, no, I'm not dealing with that. But
then you got
those are few and far between.
Yeah, and then you got the police coming on these their programs, and advocating on behalf of the insurance. Leave those things for the insurance. The only thing the police should be doing is enforcing the law. Enforcement. You're not supposed to be discussing insurance and who ain't got insurance. When you show up to wherever the deal is, you ask for these documents. So these insurance companies get a free ride by having the police doing all the advocating on their behalf, and they sit back.
Yeah, you think that bad? Listen to this one. You think that is bad? All of the civil claims that go to the court, when you owe, whether it's you didn't pay a bill for flow or for Horsfords and the displays, Social Security, who you think carry out the summonses?
The police.
Why?
They should
Why
not be
is
doing
government
these things.
resources being paid to solve these things? Why? For the business houses. Why?
I have no idea.
Oh,
But
okay.
I
All right. And then they say, well, the matter is not in solved, so you can't go ahead because the police didn't solve it. I don't think that is supposed to be an expense for the business houses. The business
course
houses is supposed to pay to get these things solved. Let them have their own processors.
I once heard, St. Kitts Nevis is a modern country. I have a problem with that in certain aspects.
But I learned in law school that contract law is to facilitate economic activity. And I thought I was reading something, a misprint in the contract book. I said, wait, he not about justice and equity and fairness or anything like that. Mm-hmm. Contract law to facilitate economic activity. That is what it was. And I said, no, something is a misprint here. Or you learn fast that certain things, certain things are in the law to facilitate the captains of industry.
Yeah. Again, a trickle down from colonialism. See, we just don't get it.
Chris, I don't like you, but you move to the front. Move to the front of the class, Chris.
One more thing, and I'm gonna leave.
Yeah.
Now, this is for Mr. Hamilton.
Certainly.
Why we still have police prosecuting cases? You could imagine someone offends the law, you are being arrested by the police, and then the police turn around and prosecute you, and then there's another section here. You get bail, but then the court tells you to report to the police. Your only obligation should be to the court, not the police. And we continue to practice these colonial, whatever you call them. And it's time we get away from things like this.
And when you raise these things, you are the troublemaker. Mm-hmm. You are the so-called disturber.
Yeah.
And therefore, I'll show you this. When I started practice, when I came home, the DPP office and the judge's office were up in the same building. And I used to say, well, I don't know what is happening behind here next to the water cooler. I mean, to even suggest it, somebody might think you're in contempt. How you dare think that the judge behind here? but the judge and the DPP had no call in the same building. You understand? Finally, they moved out the DPP and put them over in their own building and so on. So that none of that, no cause. And you could see, you know, justice is not only what is done, but is what is being perceived.
Yeah.
You know, the standard is of bias is not actual bias, right? But it's the perception of bias, and therefore we are moving, but we're moving at a snail pace.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything that things are still the same, but we're moving very, very slow. We are, you know, when it comes to reform, you know, we don't want to embrace change. We don't want to embrace reform. We don't like these things. You think that things supposed to be should only remain the same because the colonialists and those who did things first, they had a monopoly on ideas, and they didn't send you to school to learn, to come back to do anything progressive or different. That is why I said, when you're talking about even things like sustainable and development and conservation within the environment, you walk around town and all the major buildings, all of them, government and otherwise, there are no spouting. There is nothing to deal with capturing of rainwater. Everything just come out of the building, run down, and you wet you up on the sidewalk, go down in the drain and back down into the sea, and we're talking about water shortage. Mm-hmm. Where I live, I have to dig my own sluice so that the water go back into the earth. I have to pay for that. Nobody helping me. Mm-hmm. Nobody helping me. The government isn't helping me to do some of that little conservation so that we get more water filtering into the soil. I have to pay somebody to come and help me do the road, no matter how much I beg. Public works or another thing. Man, ain't no help. And this is the cry of the farmers. This is the cry of a lot of the people. Yet we want to say that we are, we're talking about small island sustainable development, and we have these buzzwords and buzz phrases. But when it comes to the actual doing, I mean, come on, you're telling me that government still building homes, approving homes without cistern, without even the black tanks, and give people duty free so that they could get these things done at a reduced rate. But then we will be building in that sort of resilience and capacity within the homes that we are building going forward, so that we will be using a lot of that water for flushing of the toilets and other things, for gardening, for all of those things. We would we are already buying water to drink. So and some people will be boiling the water to drink. But we need to have these practices built into what we are doing. But we're not encouraging that. We're just going traveling and talking about island. Sustainable island state and sustainable island, and banning plastic bags, right? But if you buy a bottle of water, you can't put it in a plastic bag to come out. You understand? Because plastics are banned. And the plastic bags, you don't tell me that a plastic bag is a single-use plastic bag. When I get a plastic bag and I come out of the shop with it, that plastic bag is going to go by me. I'm going to put it in my garbage bin. I'm going to put my garbage in it and then send it out. So how is it a single-use plastic bag?
Yeah, because Mr. Chesley Hamilton, everything that our leaders say is spoon-fed to them. They do not really have a link with it. That is why we don't see them living up to it. Because if it came from them, they would understand it. But they don't understand it because they're just regurgitating what they heard from external forces.
What we do need in St. Kitts is a good recycling plant, so that we could recycle plastics, we could recycle metal and aluminum and cans and so on, and get byproducts, and maybe have some waste to energy. That is what we do need. But the banning of some of these things, it makes no sense.
And I agree with you because.
And why it makes no sense? Let me just add the punctuation to it. Why it makes no sense is that we go on to paper. We go on to more paper. And what is paper? Trees.
Yeah,
Trees that's supposed to make us more
we depend on them for
and
life.
stop global warming and all this kind of thing.
Yeah.
We are killing more trees with our policy and going to less recyclable. It makes no sense. The policy is misguided.
Go ahead, caller.
Along those lines, I mean, when I go into Walmart, it's the most plastic bag I ever see. I mean, and they are the creators of what they.
That's it.
I mean, come on, and we jump on a bandwagon and following. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. I hear people complaining about these food containers. One guy say he asked the lady for, put on more gravy. When he opened up the thing, no gravy in it. Gravy gone into the container.
I understand. And the reason that we are going, follow the money. Follow the money. Who is making the money? Who is making the money to produce these goods as opposed to who was making the money? Follow the money. And if you follow the money, you're going to do what is right for you and your people. That is why I when I listen to those who want to ram certain things down the throat and Kamala Prasad push back, they don't understand. I have a petrochemical society, and you want to push this green thing down my throat, and then I can't pay for schooling, and I can't pay my police, and I can't pay for education or health. When this is how I make my living, you're not going to push that down my throat. We will do it with a certain level of balance and a certain level of care. But you can't push it down my throat.
Yeah.
And I understand that. Do what's best for you. What is best for your people. And I'm simply saying, you want me to adopt all of these things? Donate to me a recycling plant. You give me a recycling plant, then I could then be more, I will pick up your garbage 5 times a week, because I'll pick up the plastics, I'll pick up the steel, I'll pick up the grass and the bush and the shrubs, and I'll pick up the other stuff. 5 times a week I'll be coming around because I'm having you separate the garbage. Okay? But if you don't have that and everything going in the same place, then you're creating a dump. You're creating a problem.
Yeah.
Get the policy right. See it right through. Think it right through.
With your
But
commercial.
you can't be killing, you can't be killing the trees by telling me we're going to more paper.
Yeah.
Can't.
Okay, call on Mr. Chesley. We're going to take a commercial break, and we'll be right back. Okay, so here we go.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
The countdown is on. The sweetest season of the year is here. From December 13th to January 2nd, St. Kitts and Nevis comes alive once more with vibes galore, energy to explore, and moments sweeter than ever before. Sugar Max 54, sweet to the core. The stage erupts with the passion of Calypso, the sweet sound of Pan, the heat of Soca, dazzling pageants and traditions that make you love Carnival even more. Dance to the streets at Juve, celebrate folklore, and revel in the Grand Carnival Parade, a celebration of rhythm, color, culture. Sugar Mass 54, sweet to the core.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
People make the world go round. If you need protection, you need one who you can trust to secure your investment. You need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, you're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us.
TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind. You're always safe with us.
People make the world go round.
And we're back. The time is 11:16. And before I go back to you, Mr. Chesley, I'm going to play a little bit of a clip, if you will indulge me, because I want people and you and everyone to understand that what you were just saying about our leaders saying sustainable this and sustainable that is what they are told to say, and they do not understand it. I'm going to play a clip, and this clip deals with Ghana and something that Ghana succeeded in, and listen to the backlash. Listen to this.
What if I told you that the moment Ghana's currency became the strongest in the world, instead of applause, it triggered a warning from the International Monetary Fund? That's exactly what happened. Ghana's cedi outperformed every other currency on the planet, even the US dollar, and almost immediately the IMF stepped in, accusing Ghana of manipulating its economy. Now pause and think about that. A stronger currency means cheaper imports, lower inflation, and relief for millions of ordinary Ghanaians. It's the kind of progress any country would celebrate. But instead of praise, Ghana got a lecture. The IMF claims the Bank of Ghana was pumping money into the market to artificially strengthen the cedi. But here's the real question. Why is an African country's success suddenly a problem? Why should the IMF even care if Ghana's economy is stabilizing? Former African Union Ambassador Dr. Arikana Chihumbori Kwao put it bluntly. The IMF, the World Bank, all of them thrive on African nations failing. Their success depends on our failure.
Now, I'm going to pull it down because I think you got the gist of what, because when you stated what Trinidad was going through, this is what they do. They make wealth off of oil. They've messed up the world's economy, the atmosphere. This is why, but yet still they're penalizing you who are trying to survive. It's a whole system set up.
Able to manage and pilfer and do all manner of things. And then they want to now come and tell you, oh, well, you can't do that the same now because you have to now turn around and save humanity.
Yeah.
But when they've already made millions and billions doing what you are even trying to do or attempting to do on a small scale, for the development of your people.
Yeah.
Our footprint is so small that there is no way our footprint can do many of the things that they are complaining of. But we are the first to adopt these strict measures. I was listening to something where the European Union decided they had to relax certain strict laws in order to help the economy. And they had to back out of certain things that they had in place.
Yeah.
So sometimes they are putting strict things in place. But when the economy can't cope with the strict laws, they go back and they relax.
Yeah, those very same laws.
But we have to abide by the strict edicts of many of these policies. Why?
Why? We have a caller.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Morning.
Yes, I missed the first half hour, but I'm tuned in just in time to hear Chesley, you invoking your favorite mantra of, protecting the minority from the tyranny of the majority. Okay, this time in relation to the speaker, the speaker's control of the proceedings in Parliament.
Certainly.
Right. I hope you were calling out the current speaker on how she conducts parliamentary affairs. For it's just not fair. It's not fair to opposition members. It's not fair to citizens who expect robust debate, not any one-sided affair. Okay, you know, I guess. I mean, we've suffered. It's nothing new. We've suffered from a string of speakers.
Yeah, I was very specific and particular. I was dealing with the whole issue that when Timothy walked out of the parliament, the speaker comment was that the chaos has left. And I felt that that was unbecoming of the speaker, the head of parliament, to make such a comment for a person who has been elected to parliament for more than 30 years. The right to participate and the right to not participate is something for us, a member to exercise. And if the person left without any rancor or chaos, then the person left and you could go on, you could carry on. But to comment, it was not one of the government members or somebody else. It's the speaker. It's almost like an order, a ruling of the chair. And that is on the Hansard. That is in the official record. What she said is now part of the parliamentary debate, that she said the chaos has left in reference to an elected member. That needs to be expunged from the record of the parliament, and she needs to apologize.
Like anything else, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Because I honestly feel that our elected members of parliament supposed to go in there and stay in there and do the people's work.
Yeah.
Okay? If you want to protest, find some other way of protesting. But I don't expect my parliamentarian to walk out because if he is slighted or anything like that. Okay? But I do agree that the speaker's handling of it was uncalled for. And like I said, I think our speakers fancy themselves as part of the executive.
Yeah.
Okay. So that would explain why she acted as she did, right? I really feel that our speakers should be educated on how they should really act in a parliamentary democracy. Okay, just like other MPs. I mean, and maybe just like other MPs, it should be an elected position. Maybe that would help reduce some of the bias. All right. The second thing I noticed was your lambasting those so-called nuisance laws. Yes, they are a nuisance, but until they are removed, as long as they remain on the books, shouldn't they be enforced? So while I agree that the infamous F words, for instance, should be considered protected speech, I am sure you will also agree that including a string of F's, put it that way, in a sentence, it can be considered intimidatory at best, and worse, threatening.
Intimidating to you, and if it intimidates you, then you have an opportunity to say, listen to me, this man used this threatening or whatever language against me, and I was in fear. So I am the one that should be compensated. Where is the public interest? That's what I'm asking.
Well, suppose that became the norm in public.
Mm-hmm.
Would you be okay with it?
I am telling you, it depends on what you call the norm, because if you go over the strip, that is the norm.
That anybody, that anybody just, it becomes part and parcel of ordinary speech, just like how you'd say good morning in public.
You haven't been listening to you have not been listening to the songs that are being played everywhere. As a matter of fact, sometimes even on the radio, they play the wrong version. And I have to be listening to these things on my radio.
Yes, Yes. And do you like it? Do you
And it's
mind it?
on the TV. I was brought up in a different era.
Look, yeah, but what I'm saying is, I mean, even people who use it with some sort of understanding that, well, the audience doesn't mind, and it's not really totally in public. It might be at a club or something like that. Okay, but you can't go down the road and you can't go down the road and hear one string of F's. And
look, the first time I read these things in my textbook in university, I heard a professor sat down on the top of a desk and said Maroney is a hole and this kind of thing. I was in shock in the class. but that is the norm in academia. It is.
Sure, in academia, where practically anything goes.
And Mr. McMahon.
Right? But I'm saying to you, if you're going down the road and you're hearing people saying this government, expletive government, and these expletive government ministers, etc., you would not consider that decorum. You would not consider that something that should be the norm.
Mr. McMahon, in terms of your statement, I hear what you're saying, but I think if we are realistic, this morning I was coming to work and coming through there by on Central Street between where National Bank is and where TDC used to be. Some young workers were either putting down or taking up some tents. And one of them had his phone in his hand, and you know these phones can play very loud now, you can hear it. And all I'm hearing as I approach him is effing this and calling the female's private part, and he's sitting down there casual. And then there are times when I've jumped onto a bus because I've never driven and I use a public transport. I jump onto a bus and there's this young male driver, and the most vicious expletives are kicking out of the speaker in the bus. Children are jumping on the bus. Elder women are coming on the bus, and these young men have no respect and regard for them. So, so our society is completely different now to what it was before. Once ago, an older woman would have jumped on the bus and say, "Young man, turn off that." But now the older women don't do that because they know they will be accosted, and maybe even other young people in the bus will jump on them too.
There will be a blowback.
Yeah. Yes, Quint, I know that, right? And do you think that right now the majority opinion is in favor of that kind of
I will phrase the question another way. Do you think the majority of people believe that someone should get a criminal record for that? That is how I'll phrase the question.
Okay, and most likely
they
would say no.
Yeah.
And that is the point.
Most likely people
I am
would
not
say
saying
no.
to you that is supposed to be the norm conduct of how people greet people in society. But I'm saying to you, we cannot keep on doing the worst of the worst in terms of penalties.
I understand
and making our young people criminals for something like that.
I understand that, but remember the example I gave, right? There's a thin line between what can be called threatening, and if you threaten somebody to the point where you may take action. Say, I mean, I don't know. If you, for instance, say you're going to kill somebody,
that's a different story. If you threaten to kill me,
right?
If you threaten to kill me, that is a criminal offense.
Okay, right.
And if you use an explicit to even emphasize it more, that is something that is more grievous.
Right.
So that is aggravated. So I am not against that. Get me right. I am simply saying to you, if I use some choice words to you and you feel insulted, listen to the phrase, you feel insulted, or you say it's abusive language, So you feel abused by me. I am saying those categories of that offense should be a personal matter. I should be able to summons you personally for insulting me, and I could get some damages, meaning money. But where is the public interest so that I end up with a criminal record?
The public interest, right, appears if you say you're gonna use that F word again. You up, okay?
Yeah.
To me, that is extreme. That is an extreme threat, especially if it is accompanied by a string and the
Fine. If you come,
right?
if I meet you in public,
Right?
Mr.
And it is in the
Mr.
public
Moko,
interest.
and I say to you, I am going to do that to you, right? That is an offense in the public. I'm saying to you in public. In public, I have just offend the public peace by threatening you in public.
That kind of. Yeah, but
I am
it is in
simply saying
public
to you,
interest.
no, bear with me. I am saying that is wrong. That's a criminal offense. I am not, because I don't even have to use the word in order for it to be a criminal offense. I could say, boy, I go mash you up. No explicit in that. In public, and you feel the fear and the threat in what I say. So that is a criminal offense.
Okay.
I am not against criminal offenses. I am simply saying the use of fornicating under the consent of the king with yourself should not be a criminal offense.
But look, Chesley, we're talking words here, right?
That's my
From
point.
time to time, words, wait, words change.
You go to a football game in England, and the entire stadium is using profanity against the other team. No one does anything, and they're drinking alcohol in public and using profanity in the entire stadium.
But there's a difference between that and using it as a threat, Chesley. That's what I'm saying.
So you're telling they're not trying to intimidate and threaten
And
the other
I'm
football
saying that,
team by using
I'm
it?
saying that, however you put it, fornicating the king, whatever it is.
What I'm saying to you,
Words
nobody in England and societies end up with a criminal record for that. Why are we criminalizing our young people?
But you just
Mr. Hamilton,
said that it can be criminal.
Mr. Hamilton, I hear what Mr. McMahon is saying.
Good.
What he's saying is from context of the AG. Here's the AG in whatever forum or whatever, and he's making these words, I'm going to sew you up and blah, blah, blah. This is the individual
and the
who
AG
is at
is
the...
wrong because those are still on the book, and he's the
That is
chief
the
law
point.
advisor. So I am saying the AG is supposed to try and do something about it. To whom much is given, much is expected. Remove those nuisance laws, so to speak, from the
before
books.
That, Chesley, before that, I would like to hear how you would expect this situation to be handled. Should an apology be made? Should some whether clarification or some relief from the government be made? How should it be handled? Should it just be ignored, just in silence?
And I am going to be true to myself. That's supposed to be an issue between the two persons.
Only?
The two persons, yeah. A matter of fact, if I come up in your ear, Mr. Mahon, and I said those words to you in your ear, who else did I offend?
But we the public are seeing it, Mr. Chesley.
You are now seeing it because somebody recorded and broadcast it. That's how it became public.
But we have seen it coming from the highest level of the legal fraternity.
Right, and I'm simply saying that person can do something about it, and they should do something about it.
Chesley, you want to tell me that somebody commits a murder, nobody sees, right? But it is done. And subsequently, whatever evidence is produced, it is shown that they committed the murder. You want to tell me, for instance, that let's say it was recorded and the recording came out later. Shouldn't that person be prosecuted for murder?
You see, there's a
Even though it was not,
saying that you
even though
shouldn't
it was
argue.
not
A lawyer shouldn't
done in
argue law
public.
with non-lawyers. You know, those are two completely different things. Those are two different things.
No, it is not a straw man.
There is
It-
no
it
such
not.
thing as a murder in private.
Yeah, that's a difference.
There is no such thing.
Murder is
Hold
murder.
on. Most murders happen when. I mean, well, I don't know most, but a lot of murders happen.
But from the
and
legal
the only person who knows that a murder was committed is the murderer, for a length of time anyway.
What Chesley is
What's
saying,
that?
from the legal perspective, a murder is a murder is a murder.
That's the point.
That's the point.
It's an awful
Well,
feeling.
breaking the law is breaking the law, regardless of the way.
And this
No,
is
no,
where-
no, 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 Mr. McCoy. Mr. McCoy, if I am home in my bed and using the F word, who am I?
But that's not in public.
But that is what.
But what I'm saying is that you're still using it, and if it by whatever means, right, it comes to pass that it comes out in public.
Good. You McCoy. So you outside the window listening to what I inside my bedroom doing, and you say that I use those kind of words inside my bedroom. You the
Suppose there was a bunch of kids around that you didn't know. I give you that you didn't know, right? Or suppose, for instance, you decide, and this is an example I use, you just decide you're going by the window. It's a nice, breezy night. You're going by the window, open your window. You're naked. People see you, and they say you're...
and that is why, let me just finish before you. That is why in the privacy of my home, I do certain things as suppose if I disturb the peace. Disturbing the peace is the way the offense comes. That is why I keep asking you, where is the public interest in me telling you certain things?
So basically, you're saying that only certain offenses, when done in the privacy of your home, should be prosecuted.
I am saying to you, the public peace, what disturbs the public peace in 1955 does not disturb the public peace in 2025.
Okay. Let me pin you down, because I know a lot of people don't like to be pinned down by this, right? In this particular case, where the AG was recorded, right? Is that a disturbance to the public peace?
No, because if you had this phone in your ear, right? When I was saying those things to you, it's between me and you. If you tape it and then broadcast it, a matter of fact, you might have done something to me by recording me and spreading certain things against me. You could be the one who in your broadcast disturbing the public peace.
Isn't that the same thing as a whistleblower in a government department?
I love that. I love that tone on it.
Deciding
I love that twist
to
on
bring
it.
matters to the public.
I love that twist on it. But was he caught? Was he
Even
caught
though
using
he's
some
working
F-bomb
for-
in a room of people that he didn't think awesome? No.
But-
And
but-
if
but
he did,
Mr.
that is why I'm
McMahon,
simply saying, if he
Chesley-
wants to express himself that way, in public or to people, it could be two people, you know. Two people. Because two makes it public. It's no longer one on
I
one.
wondered about that. What the definition of public? Once it's two,
Yeah, it's more than one.
it's public.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
But Mr. Chesley and Mr. Hamilton, my issue is this, and I'm gonna be precise. As an attorney general who is supposed to uphold the law, and it is still on the books that these swear words are illegal, against the law, and as you have stated, Mr. Chesley Hamilton, as a legal representative, that a young individual's life could be disrupted and tarnished with that very same law. I feel that the Attorney General should at all times carry himself in a manner that does not put repute on the status and position that he holds.
I agree with you, and that is, was his behavior unbecoming of the office he holds as the chief legal advisor? I mean, those are the kind of questions that must be asked, and he got to answer. But I'm not here to judge the Attorney General. I am simply giving him a solution and a way out. Remove the damn things off the books. You understand? And there would be no debate. Remove that from the Small Charges Act. Take it out.
That is why I
it
phrased,
need to be there.
That is why I phrased my
and
statement
you can't live
the
by
way I
it.
stated
If you can't live by it, then nobody else is supposed to live by it.
That is why I stated it.
And let's go further. If you can't drive 20 miles an hour, then nobody could drive 20 miles an hour. Move the speed limit. You need to govern and do things. These are not the days when we had horse cart and donkey cart and boop boop. We now have cars that, in order for them to change from 1 to 2, then they got to reach up beyond at 50 kilometers in a couple seconds to come back down. Not even a funeral, as the magistrate say, go 20 kilometers an hour. Change the laws, man. We must govern. Stop being punitive. All we want to do is to punitive tax people. Go in the wallet, tax them $350 for going 30 kilometers an hour. I mean, come on. Done with it.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, Chesley, but you should ask yourself, in all honesty, right?
Yeah.
You think that these people don't realize, just like you, just like me, just like most other people, that these things are common sense stuff for me and therefore act on them? Why do you think they don't do it?
Those things are minor irritants to them, and with their power and possession and status, it doesn't affect them. Because nobody gonna give them a ticket. Nobody is gonna give them a ticket, so it doesn't bother them.
Chesley, what you're saying there is that these people have a mindset
of entitlement. Let me finish the statement.
Well, that is what I was going to say.
That Mr. Chesley Hamilton goes to the AG also, right? Because he feels
What I was going to say, because the entitlement mindset is a given, but the natural progression of that is that they're not fit to hold that office.
Oh, okay.
They're not fit to hold that office.
Well, the people vote them, and the people's vote. The people's voice is the voice of God. So the people vote them in, and then they get appointed according to that mandate. By who is to say? You know, who is to say?
No. But that is unreasonable to put it like that, right? Because I mean, people vote for a lot of different things. Okay,
I agree with you.
We expect once voted in that there are certain things, and it happens all the time, which I honestly don't try to come to grips with. Why do you change? Why all of a sudden the things that you used to call wrong become right?
Yeah.
Why do you double down on things that you used to really launch tirades against? Right? I mean, is it some kind of disease that afflicts you? Is it something in the parliament, in the government offices?
I think the environment changes.
It's obvious that a lot of people.
When people start saying yes, Mr. Minister, yes, Mr. Minister, yes, Mr. Minister, I think it gets to you after a while. That you could do nothing wrong, you could say nothing wrong, because everybody takes whatever you say as the last word and being right. Nobody challenges you, nobody stands up to you, nobody tells you you're wrong. People are afraid to speak truth to power.
But Chesley, you're a policeman, right? And I'm sure you know, right, that not all, I mean, you may have used to walk around with a gun on your hip and so on. I mean, that's ultimate authority, okay? And I'm sure that you know that it's not everybody can handle that kind of power and authority, okay? But you have, but most people learn to deal with it, Okay? And I'm saying that, yes, when you go in there and people start saying, yes, sir, and you have the final say, sir, and all of that kind of thing, that is something that you as a person should be able to handle as well.
Why no? You have no,
Okay?
no, 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 no,
No? What changed?
Let me tell you something, eh? There is no school for it. But if you're not mentored or taught how to deal with power,
Yeah.
you're going to mishandle it more often than not.
Mr. McMahon, there's a song that says, I think even Yellow Man quoted it, it's, Lord, it's hard to be humble when you're perfect in every way. And when you already have an ego, and people are saying, yes, sir, minister, Mr. It goes to your head, and you feel that you're perfect, and that entitles you to run shot over individuals.
It is
not
easy.
that it is right. It is not right.
All I would say, that is a good reason for us to give politicians some frequent doses of humility.
I agree.
Right?
And that is why a free press is so important.
As someone else put it, we should treat them like socks, change them often, or they stink. Right? You know, since it's something that is a given that they're going to get like this, don't keep them around for too long. You know? A lot of damage can be done in 5 years, yes. But a lot more damage can be done in 10.
Yeah.
You know, you're making the case essentially for term limits, which of course all of them try to avoid once they're in.
Yeah.
You know? But anyhow.
Well, yeah, once they get
Okay.
a taste of that sweet sauce of power, it's very difficult for them to move away from it. It is something that you have to condition your mind for. You have to be in, even if you're in school and you're made monitor or prefect, you become teacher, you become a board member in society. If you're not accustomed to be in charge or be in control and exercise power with discretion, once you reach to the top of the food chain, so to speak, political member from nothing, when some people, you weren't even in charge of your own household. Sometimes it's the other person in the household. You go into some of them household and the children run in the household.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay? They can't even control their own children. And then they are in charge of entire ministries, entire department, where everybody then fall into line and show them deference. It is not something they are accustomed to. And they mishandle it more often than not.
Yeah.
That is why when you have successful parents, many times, you don't find the children come and carry on the business and take it to the next level. Because they're not going to say, why my mom and dad had a mom and pop shop. I am now went away, study and come back, and I'm going to go into franchising and selling franchise or something else. No, we have very few examples of that, where children come and move the business to the next level because they don't know how to handle, whether it's inheritance, power, authority, or money.
Yeah.
We have to do a better job of it.
I agree.
And so therefore, don't even blame them. Blame us.
Yeah.
It's a collective thing. We have to begin to stop teach our children only to want a job, but teach them how to become leaders, how to become captains of teams, football teams, to bring out the best out of the co-players, the teammates. How? We have to teach these things.
Yeah, we have a caller. Hello, caller.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, it's me again. Chesley Hamilton.
Yes, sir.
No, Quinn can even verify this. When you were talking earlier about the ban in a plastic bag and how it is more negative than anything else on the economy and making our lives inconvenient and that sort of stuff. Even Quinn can verify that I have been, what you said, I have been advocating from since day one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Quinn heard me speak on the issue.
Yeah, that is true.
Yes. Now, Chesley Hamilton, Also, well, when I say chest, I mean by extension, anybody else. But since you're the point man, I'm addressing you. No. I want to say this to say something else because I want to address the expletive issue as well. But I want to say something else to say this. The genesis of our problem, the start of our problem is not recognizing and accepting the fact that the Bible is the only true constitution and true supreme law of every land in the whole of God's creation. I said that to say this. For example, if we had truly recognized the Bible to be such, the only true constitution and supreme law of the land, such thing as expletives, no matter how wrong they may be, once you're not using them in a threatening way, there would not be a civil matter. There might be an irritant, yes, might offend people, yes, that sort of stuff, but the Bible does not set them out as a civil matter for courts to deal with, for people to be arrested with or charged or anything like that. No. Also, I'm going to say this. Even, let's pretend that, let me pretend at the moment, forget about the Bible. Let me pretend at the moment, forget about the Bible. When McMahon asks you, Chesley, if people would be offended by expletives, yes or not, and I think he personalized it to you, would you be offended for a string of expletives, yes or not? Okay? Let's say you had said yes. Yes, I would be offended by it. If I was in your position, if I say, okay, yes, I would be offended by a string of expletives and yes or not, I would have followed up with Mr. Markman and said, Mr. Markman, so what that's supposed to mean? Something supposed to be law based upon what offend me? Because I have a ton of things that offend me, that trust me, that even you do things and say things that would offend me.
Yeah.
But Greg,
so what offend me? Yeah?
But Greg, the premise is, the thing is that it is the law. That is where.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Okay.
And Chesley saying it should not be.
Yes, I hear that, but it is presently, and the individual at the highest level of the legal fraternity is going counter to the law. That is the point.
Right. Go ahead. Yeah, Quinta, listen.
I finished. That is my statement.
And the other point Chesley made is that if you can't live by it, then why should everybody else be living by it?
That's the point.
You know? So even if I was to leave out the Bible issue, still on logic, okay? Because something offend me meaning supposed to be law? Is what offend me supposed to be, am I supposed to be the standard as to what is law and what is not law? No. So something offending people is not enough to make it a law. You know? What probably I would have said, like I said, as somebody who believed the Bible should be out of this, what I would have said is that, does it violate your human rights? How could a string of expletives violate your human rights? You know? So you know, that's how I would have answered Mr. McMahon. But then again, like I said, as a Christian, if we had correctly recognized and accept the Bible as our only true constitutional law and law of the land, such thing as explicit would not be civil matter.
But again, Greg, both Mr. McMahon, this is one of the rare cases where both individuals are right. If you follow what their premise is, because Mr. McMahon is right because it is the law, and where Mr. Chesley is right is because he doesn't agree with it, and he says, okay, so why are you still continuing a law that is of no real consequence, and now you find yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? What are you going to do? Are you going to...
There is consequence. It's
That's
a minor
it.
irritant that is a real consequence to people who are charged by it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see, but like you all were last saying, when people are in power, they don't care about the last thing because in practical life, they are exempt.
Amen.
They love to say everybody's under the law, but no, I don't see it that way.
Yeah.
Equality
Some
before,
people are
in, and
exempt.
under the law.
Yeah.
Yeah. In theory, it is said everybody's under like, in theory. But in practical out workings, like people in open public get away with things lawfully, they're not charged, and so whereas the other person is charged and locked up and arrested and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And let's use the United States as an example, because presently in the United States of America today, the law is used in two different instances depending on your race. If a black person does something, he goes straight to jail. If a white young person does the very same thing, they go to rehab, they get all kind of therapy and that kind of stuff, and their record doesn't suffer from it. But let the black person do the very same minor thing, and his record is a problem. For the rest of his life, he's tarnished.
You get caught shoplifting, and you could go to jail. You understand? Somebody caught stealing a bicycle, it's a property crime, so claim that on your insurance. Yeah, because it's the white suburbs where they steal your bike and so on. So therefore, white young kids, oh, it's restless kid and blah, 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 blah. You know, so they no criminal record.
No criminal
but the young kid in the ghetto who goes and steal, you know, something to eat, he is given an offense and sent off to a correctional home.
Yeah. So the double standards of the law.
Yeah, to a certain point, Quint, to a certain point, I agree with you. To a certain point, okay? To a certain
Well, I was agreeing with you. I was strengthening your point.
No, time, but the last point you just made.
Yeah.
With that person is black, you know, to a certain point extent, I agree with you.
We have 2 minutes before the end of our.
So let me quickly say this as well. So this is why, okay? I admire and I every day cherish more and more the wisdom of the Bible. This is why the Bible limit government to certain functions only. Because when you pack on power and all kind of privileges and so on government, where you need the permission to do things and all that sort of stuff, it's going to corrupt you. No matter how good you are, it's going to corrupt you. This is one of the reasons why the Bible limits the functions of government to prevent the corruption of man. And like I said, the genesis of our problems is we not accepting but rejecting the Bible as our only true law and constitution of the land. Nothing gonna go correct unless we start there, and God gonna always give us the government we deserve if we continue in our disobedience to the Bible and not biblically repent of that. And young fellas, thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you, Greg.
And let you do your wrap up, Mr.
McMahon gone?
Yes, a long time.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you, Quinn, for another insightful and engaging time and opportunity, and the privilege of being here and to be able to interact and share. I think that this is important. We didn't get to touch the whole issue of the agricultural feed and the people who have chickens dying, and the fact that I now understand that the government is going to go and privatize the thing. That might be a good thing. When government can handle certain things, if the private sector is able to do it more efficiently or better, that's a good development. And but when the government is said to not have the funds necessary to secure things within its mandate, and people are suffering, and livestock and so on, it's a failure and a disappointment, and I think that it's something that needs some public discussion and be part of the universal and the public discourse. And we should bring that to the fore. I hope we could do it some other time and have some people who could contribute to it. Whether on the SSZ or the speed limit or whatever else is there to discuss, I'm here, willing and able to listen, and will contribute. And at all times, try to speak truth to power. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Quinn. Have a good weekend. God bless you.
Same to you, and I must thank you, because the whole discourse is nothing without a brain like yours, mediating the whole conversation.
Thank you.
So, thank you.
You found the sound. 98.9. Win FM.